welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe, and here with me is my co-host Stan.
Hello and greetings.
A while back, I put up a poll saying, hey, do you think we should review this movie? And, well, it turned out that people were pretty divided about this. We ended up watching it, and oh boy, is this bad. This is comparable to the one animated Dragonlance movie. You were the one saying, while watching, I'm getting flashbacks of the Dragonlance movie here. Yeah, like at the start, Jeremy Irons, who's generally a flawless actor, is going a little cuckoo. The movie opens up with a shot of the city, then we go down into the sewers, where this movie belongs, and then over to, Irons' character. Now, I've tried to watch this 3 times over the past 20 years. The reason I've tried is that I can never really remember what happened in this movie, so I knew I had watched it, but I was like, I don't remember anything. Does that even count as having watched it? And I gotta say, no wonder I purged this from my memory every time. We lost brain cells just sitting there watching this and going, what? Now, we're both avid D&D players. This movie is operating in its own homebrewed world, and it's not a good one. It's not a good one. Izmir is the country, I think. At the start of the movie, the Empress Savina, ruling whilst holding a rod of power of sorts that allows her to control gold dragons. She wants to give rights to the common people, I think, but it's not exactly clear if she has an idea what kind of government she'd usher forth. Prothean, I think? Utterly not. But he does a good job arguing his case. He's basically more a politician than a mage. So, of course, he's going to argue his case pretty well, even as he's lying through his teeth. Now, you've got a set of teenage thieves, Ridley and Snails. I wrote their names down. Otherwise, I would never be able to remember anything. Basically, they're pulled off the set of Scary Movie. Now, I'm quoting Dan here.
Especially
the African-American one.
Exactly. He should have never been in this movie.
Yeah, he has some comedic talent.
Yes.
But the director misuses him. Because it seems like the director wanted to make 2 different types of movie. And the thing is, the thieves, one of them's playing the character from the Scary Movie film, black kid who's a stoner. The other thief is trying to play Han Solo.
Which, the other thief, you'd need someone else to bounce him off of for him to fit in this movie. But the guy they chose
was terrible. And they're caught by a mage named Marina while they're trying to bust in and swipe some stuff. From there, the adventure begins. As the captain of Prothean's guards, Damodar, starts to hound them. And the adventure takes them across many different places. Most of which I can't remember because I think I blacked out at some point in this film. They end up eventually escaping from a dungeon, I think. And Snails dies. They get a rod of magic. They end up also slaying Damodar and generally stopping Prothean, with Ridley later visiting Snails' grave with Marina and 2 other companions, an elf and a dwarf. I don't remember their names. It's obvious this movie is going to be rated 0 by both of us. This is just...
No matter how much some of the visuals are good.
Oh yeah, like the Empress and the old man are in the church. Looks magnificent.
This is just torture.
People complain about Batman and Robin. That movie's at least a little fun. Just mostly because it's so bad it's actually a little funny and comedic.
Here is a movie that you tie up your worst enemy and you just flick it on and you walk out waiting for him to crack.
Gosh, this movie is bad. D&D is such a fun game. How do you mess this up? You've got beautiful visuals in this film. Frankly, when you mess up and you fail to properly utilize such beautiful sets and visuals, just a cathedral. Oh my gosh, that looked great. They got visuals like that, and it's so beautiful. But then, this movie. Now, the latter part of this video is not going to be a discussion of the movie, because discussion over, right, Dan? But
right.
Rather, a bit of the future of D&D movies. Because, a few years ago, Joe Manganiello, I think that's how you say his name? It's Italian. I'm not Italian. He wanted to revive Dungeons & Dragons as a kind of cinematic concept by pretty much penning, alongside a few other people, I think 2 others, a Dragonlance live-action movie. The idea was that basically shoot Dragons of Autumn Twilight, I think, as the first movie, then Winter Night, then Spring Dawning, and then move into other storylines like the Legends trilogy, The Legend of Huma, either as TV series or movies and whatnot, with himself playing the Kevin Feige or kind of GDF type role, the shoulders upon whom the franchise will rest as the main custodian for the cinematic part of this franchise, and that this should be the future of Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I hope our Forgotten Realms fans won't take this as a piece of criticism, but I don't know if going with Forgotten Realms is the best idea for a movie. Just hear me out. I find that Forgotten Realms is a confusing world and setting. When people tried to explain it to me, they explained like 5 different settings, it seemed, or 9 or something. So I just ended up really confused. I've never met anyone who's been able to properly explain it. Dragonlance, I always found simpler, so that was a strength it had. It focused on, the one world, Krynn, or at least Ancelon. Now, hear me out. I don't actually like the other continents, or archipelagos, for the most part, of Dragonlance, because, you have Taladus as another continent. Now, I'm just making the case for a cinematic movies universe because it's fairly straightforward. You just need to adapt direct books. Done. That said, even The Legend of Huma would be a pretty good, almost short movie. You could pretty much get everything in almost 2 hours. You could also do stories on like the Salamnic Knights, for example. Whereas here, this 2000 movie, I'm confused by it and I'm just bored.
Yeah.
He's not the most prolific actor. His wife's more famous than him. I'm just being honest. But if he was willing to basically bet the farm on this franchise, I think it's worth giving it a shot. But it seems that Dragonlance lost the battle. It doesn't seem like it's going to be produced ever into a cinematic universe. And I actually think it could be produced pretty well. Instead, we're getting Forgotten Realms. I think that, on the other hand, Honor Among Thieves looks good. So this might be a good entry point for noobs to Forgotten Realms, kind of like me, as I'm not familiar with Forgotten Realms. Don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Sky trying to tear apart the High Claris Tower and Sturm to pieces.